I absolutely tell everybody all the time, getting in the water with them is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't get in the water with them. Usually, when they're on the bottom like that, they are pretty calm. But if they're not, man, you can die so fast. And even if it didn't rip you in half, let's just say he just bit your leg,
right?
And he just held on, and then he just sat there. He can hold his breath 6 hours. What do you got?
Right. 60 seconds.
So literally, if he wants to, he can just grab and just sit there. And then you're just going to drown.
Oh my God.
So that's why I try to tell people.
What do you do if they do clamp down on you?
So if you have the presence of mind, okay, that's the thing, right? How much presence of mind are you going to retain while you're getting ripped to pieces? So I get people all the time like, what do I do? And a lot of people ask me that because they want to put themselves in stupid situations they're not prepared for. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like a self-defense class where you're going to teach somebody something just enough to give them the confidence to get themselves hurt. You know what I mean? So I'll tell you, but I'm just saying that I want to put that out first. Please don't take this as for people watching, they're like, I know what to do now. I heard this on a podcast. I'm going to jump in the water.
Right.
I'm a pro. Please don't, So if you were to be grabbed, you have the presence of mind. What the animal does depends on why did it bite you. And I mean that, why did it bite you? They don't just bite to bite, So is he biting you because he's been fed and it's a feeding response? Is he biting you because you're getting too close and you're pissing him off? It's defensive. Is he biting you because you're near, if it's a female, it's babies, or does it see you as prey, And then if it does see you as prey, is it apprehensive about you as prey or is it confident? Because that makes a huge difference too. So a lot of times if somebody's in the water, and an alligator sees them as potential prey, or a crocodile. Well, to back up for a second, what usually happens if you're in the water and they're on the surface, his eye's sticking up like an inch above the surface. They're very low profile. So if he's looking at you as a swimmer on the surface, all he sees is your head and your arms flapping. You're a funny looking duck, man. You look like small prey. So from his perspective, you are small prey. So that's why even alligators, they don't typically see people as prey. They will come right to rip your head off because he thinks your head is all you are. And so I've had him do that to me in the wild. And if you're in water, a lot of Florida is very shallow. Yeah. So I've had him coming right at me, and then you just stand up, and they just even chest high, and they're like, "Oh, whoa, that is not."
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they back off immediately because they're like, "That's not what I thought it was." Oh, so a lot of it really is they think your head is all you are, and then your arms flapping. So a lot of times that's why I say don't go swimming, in the waters and lakes in Florida, because if they just see your head, man, they're going even as small. I've had 5-foot gators, smaller than I am, come right from my head because they think that's what it is. It looks like a duck, and then you just stand up and they're like, oh, whoa, that's way bigger than I thought it was.
Right.
So a lot of times you can get them to back off just by acknowledging their presence, looking right at them, standing up, going upright, and then they realize, oh, that's not what I thought it was. So a lot of it is like a misperception, Now let's say it's not. Let's say it's a really big gator. He doesn't care. He's coming in. Now, usually they are actually, they're smart, and they are apprehensive about novel things. They're nervous. They're like, I don't know what this is. So I'm going to move with some care. And so if you get grabbed, a lot of times you just turn around and you punch them right in the face, like in the eye, in the nose. A lot of times they will release because they're a little nervous. And I know it sounds crazy. It really is though, because they're not sure what you are and they're investigating. Investigatoring.
Investigatoring.
So they're trying to figure out, are you prey? And a lot of times if you do hit them, a lot of times they'll back off because they're like, oh, whoa, this thing fights. I don't know what it is. I'm not really sure yet. And so they're afraid. Now, that's not because you're hurting it. It's because you're scaring it.
Right.
You can't hurt it.
Right.
That's the thing.
Those things have a very high pain tolerance.
That's the point. That's exactly. So that's what I'm escalating towards is you are not hurting it, you're scaring it. Because if it is not afraid of you, or if it's defensive bite where it's fighting for its life and it thinks you're trying to kill it, it's not letting go. I don't care what you do. I know guys have been bit, start stabbing it with a knife, shoot it in the head. If you're not rupturing the brain case, it's not letting go. That's what I'm saying. So it's crazy. I've heard some crazy stories like that, and I'm like, that's why I tell people, if it really wants you, there's nothing you can physically do as a human. So best case scenario is it's just curious about you. You hit it in the eyes, you hit it in the nose, and that is sensitive. It does cause pain. They feel pain. It's not like they don't feel it, but they can choose to ignore it. So if you give it some pain, as you scare it, a lot of times they'll back off. But if it's defensive or if it's really big and very confident, you got nothing. You're not gonna be able to inflate. Even if you have a knife, you're not gonna do anything. You can put it right through his eye. He's not gonna let go. Right. If you see them when they fight each other, arm ripped right off. They don't flinch.
Yeah.
Arm off.
They just twist each other's arms off like nothing.
And they don't flinch. You know, so that's what I mean. It depends on what his motivation. Why is he biting you? You know? So what will work, the one thing that will work all the time, and this is like, it's kind of cool because as far as I know, I kind of came up with this technique. It's what I call flooding them. So at the back of the mouth, they have the palatal valve. You have palatal valve too. Same reason you can be underwater, open your mouth, you don't immediately drown, right? So, but yours is like back here. Theirs is right there at the back. So that's why when their mouth opens, it just kind of ends right here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if you pry that down, it floods them. The water goes in, they are immediately drowning. Yes, it works every time. So that's what's foolproof. But that means you got to get something in there. So
if you're already in there, if they're on your shoulder and your arm's in there, you can just hold that thing down.
Yeah,
and they'll open
it's
up.
Immediately going to let go because now he's drowning. Yeah. So if he's got one arm, you put your other arm in there. Now the problem is,
he's got to be in the water though.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're on land, this is going to work. Now I have done it on land with a hose because I've had them get stuff like working in captivity. I've worked at tourism parks, you know, all through my 20s and everything, and you always get some jerk that like throws a water bottle at them. You know, like people are just hate him, you know? So they throw like stuff at him. And if they think it's food, you know, like you throw a water ball at his head and he's like, oh, what is that? And they eat it and they get stuck. It blocks them. It can kill them. It can block their intestinal tract. You know, so I've had him get water bottles and stuff like that on land, and I jump on the alligator's back and have one of my friends bring over a hose and we like pry it and like get the hose into the gap back here. And as soon as you get the hose past the valve, turn on the water, immediately lets go.
No way.
So I've done it on land. I've done it in the water like that, you know, so that works every time. So that's the one thing. But just imagine like he's got this arm, so you shove your other arm in there to try to pry it open, but before you get to the valve, he rolls and both arms are gone. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's like something that you should take as like, I know what to do.
Right, yeah. It's not a get out of jail free card by any means.
Yeah.
But so when they hunt, do they hunt on the surface, below, all of the above?
All the above.
Because I've never heard of somebody, obviously if they're going to bite a human, 99.9% of the time, I'm sure it's on the surface of the water or by the shore. So it's not underwater, right?
So usually if a human's getting bit, it's because they're feeding it, you know, or somebody else had fed the animal, gets it to associate people with food. They're naturally afraid of us, like I was saying, you know? So like they really want nothing to do with us for the most part, unless somebody's illegally been feeding it, you know, and then it will see you as prey. So usually it is somebody on the shore, either they're feeding it or somebody else had been feeding it, that kind of a thing, you know? So on the surface, they hunt like that, you know, and they will track prey on the surface or perceived prey, like your head if you're a swimmer, you know, or like ducks and stuff like that. Right. Underwater, what they usually do is they ambush. So they sit totally still with their mouth wide open and that palatal valve closed, and they just wait for stuff to bump into them.
Oh, and
so they'll sit purposefully at like culvert pipes or any kind of bottleneck where the water has to come together, and they just sit there like this right into the flowing water and wait for fish to come through that are caught up in the current. Wow. It's really cool. They're really smart, you know, and they just sit there and chill like that.
That's crazy.
Now, if you were to step on one like that, obviously that's how you can get bit too.
Right. Because I was talking to Manny Puig about this regarding sharks, and what he was explaining to me was that I think it was in like the 80s, there was like way too many sharks, and then they opened it up for people to fish them. And then the population went down a little bit, then they stopped it. And like right now, the shark population is off the charts in Florida.
So this is one of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. So do you know the concept of shifting baselines?
No.
You heard this? Okay. So basically it's shifting your baseline data. So your baseline is whatever your normal is, what you think normal is. Now, the problem is that we're talking about things as normal for right now. Humans have a very short lifespan.
Right.
So the normal right now is completely unnatural. So you have to think about like how long we've been fishing the oceans in Florida. You know, so if you think about like 200 years ago, the shark population would have been, I'm just spitballing here. Like it would have been, you know, whatever, 4 or 5 times what it is now. So the way to look at this is what we have now is like, let's say it's 80% lower than what it's supposed to be without people messing everything up. Okay. So if the population is down 80% right now because of what we've been doing for the last, 100, 200, 300 years here of fishing and everything. So the population is really, really low. But within our short lifespans, we go out and we see like, okay, when I was a kid, there was this many sharks. We don't know it's 80% lower. We just know this is what it is. That's your baseline.
For sure.
So then we have environmental protections in the 70s. The ESA, is put through within the 70s. That's Endangered Species Act.
Okay.
So we have all this environmental movement. And so a lot of populations of animals are just now starting to increase because of protections that were done when we were children, or some of us not even born, right? So we're seeing... But keep in mind that generational increase takes a long time. So now we're starting to see some of the effects of these protections. And so the population is slowly starting to increase now. So people that were, around in the 80s, they're looking at like, well, back then there was, this amount, your baseline, 80% lower. Now there's a 10% increase. So let's say now the actual natural population is 70% lower than what it should be without humans.
Sure.
But to me, there's more sharks than there's ever been because my lifespan is so short. And we have so much hubris as humans. So we're like, there's more than ever. We have to kill them off. Not realizing it's so much lower than what it's supposed to be without us being there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. No, that makes sense. But it seems like, I think with the rise of more people spearfishing and being in the ocean more surfing all around the coast, there's definitely been a huge uptick in shark attacks. And I've talked to spearfishermen. I think actually Forrest was talking about this too. The sharks have become off the coast of Florida. They've become addicted to the sound, or not addicted to, but they
associate.
They've associated the sound of spear gun bands popping.
Yep.
With food.
Yep.
So whenever you're going out there and you're popping your you're shooting your spear gun, sharks are automatically coming because they know there's fish there.
Yep.
And he was saying that they can go off the coast of like Sebastian Inlet or whatever, or Miami, and just go out there and start popping their bands. And sharks will just start coming up.
Yeah.
Which is completely freaking nuts, man.
They're smart.
Yeah.
So they make that association, So like if you're the shark and you're trying to hunt fish all day and you're like, bro, these fish are so fast. This sucks. And then here's this monkey jumping around in the water. How did he get a fish? These things suck at swimming. And he can't protect that fish at all. I'm going to snatch that thing.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's so much easier to steal food from the fishermen than it is to have to hunt your own fish.
Yep.
So of course they're smart, they're going to learn that. And then they're like, I'm just going to wait for that guy to come back. And then this happens all the time and they pick up on it. And they're like, so if I just hang out over here, I get free food instead of having to actually hunt these fish.
Yeah.
So they will follow. They'll make that association. They're smart,
Yeah. And, and with like regular fishing, I know like that just from people I talk to that fish for a living, there's just saying like sharks are like, they're becoming a major problem just with like taking people's fish all the time. And, not to say that that's necessarily like a bad thing for the environment. Maybe it's not a bad thing for the environment, but it's crazy to see the boom in the shark population lately.
So a way to look at that is like, well, first of all, the sharks are taking the people's fish.
Right.
No, they're not actually.
Right, exactly. It's their fish.
It's their fish. It's not your fish.
It is, yeah. It's their
just
world.
from the start, that's their world. That's not your world.
Right.
Okay, you're a guest over there.
Yeah. That's a good point, yeah.
But the other way to think about it too is the amount of fishing that we do. We already know like global fisheries around the world are crashing. Everything is going down. We're taking way too much fish. I mean, when you look like, I don't know if you travel a lot, but like when you look out there and you see like Chinese fishing vessels everywhere. So like in Costa Rica, they don't have military, right? So Chinese fishing vessels just cruise right in there, take what they want. What are you going to do?
Do they really? In Costa Rica?
Yes. So I was working in Cocos National Park for National Geographic, actually. They're filming a show there. And you could just see them right on the edge of the marine protected zone. And they're only on the edge because you're there looking at them. And then as soon as you leave, they just move into the marine protected zone and kill everything. And they just take whatever they want. They don't respect international boundaries at all. They do not care.
Really?
They'll just move right in, take whatever they want and leave. So like if you're not stopping them with a military force, they don't care. So I don't know if you saw, this is just recently, I cannot remember what country it was. But yeah, some country, I know it was in Southeast Asia, somewhere over there. They started blowing up these fishing vessels because the Chinese fishing vessels are taking so much of the fish, the local people have nothing to eat. And so they're fighting back with weapons and blowing up the ships because they're like, our people are going to starve. And they're not respecting international boundaries at all and just taking whatever they want.
You got to find this, Steve. I'm sure it's online. You can find it somewhere.
Yeah.
Blowing up Chinese fishing vessels. I didn't know China had a crazy international fishing industry like that.
I
knew
nuts.
Japan was crazy. Like with the whaling and all that stuff and the dolphin.
Yeah, that's not good either. But I mean, I'm not an expert in this, so I don't want to like go too into the rabbit hole because I'm going to start going where like I don't know that much on it, but like I have seen that myself, you know, of like the Chinese ones. There you go.
Blowing up Chinese
Indonesia.
Oh, Indonesia has blown up Chinese fishing vessels as part of its effort to combat illegal fishing. In May of 2016, Indonesia destroyed 23 foreign fishing boats, including Chinese vessels, to send a message about illegal fishing activities. Yeah, there's also a big dolphin industry in Indonesia. I had Richard O'Barry on here a few months back, who did the movie The Cove.
Oh yeah.
And he basically did this crazy covert operation to hide cameras in this fishing cove in Japan, where they were basically they take boats out offshore and they
like corral all the dolphins.
Corral all the dolphin with like these sonar stuff, and like they net it off, and they take these sticks and they just stab them to death, and then it turns into this just massive red bloodbath. And they documented it, and they made this documentary, and it won like a ton of crazy awards.
Yeah,
and he was explaining to me how the fishing industry in Japan is just like, it's off the chain, and it's so tied into their government too that you can't get anything done.
Yeah, it's really, really, really bad stuff, man. And so that's a whole thing, but like where I was going with a lot of this is like back to Florida is the sharks move, they migrate, you know? And so if you're a migrating shark and you're in one of these areas that's just getting raped and pillaged and like there's nothing to eat over there, where are you going to hang out? Where it's protected. Here, where we protect our waters, where we have resources, you know? So you can get an accumulation of animals that are like, this place is amazing. This is where there is food. You know what I mean? And like, so like comparatively, like what would you do if you were the shark, you know? Especially if you're on a migration route like that.
Yeah, I'd be hanging out where all the spear fishermen are.
You know? And like we forget that like these animals move through. And so when you're out there and you see like there's a ton of them, you're like, it's overpopulated here. And you're like, bro, those are sharks that have come from thousands of miles away. Some of them, you know, especially when it's the right time of year on their migration, they're breeding, they're using the Gulf Stream, they're moving through, you know? So like you can have these rises and falls, you know, based on migration. And so it gives you the perception that there's more than ever because they don't live here, man. That's like going to a club in Miami and being like, oh my God, there's so many people that live. None of those people live here.
Right.
You know, especially during breeding migration. So we have, you know, in the summers, I do a lot of shark diving off of Jupiter, you know, and like there's tons of them out there in the summer. Like, there's so many. I'm like, again, you're going to the club and this is their club, man. And you're like, there's so many that live here. None of them live here. You know, they're migrating. I mean, obviously there's some that live here, you know, like depending what species we're talking about.
Is Florida the only state that protects sharks that heavily, or do other states like North Carolina, South Carolina, all those coastal East Coast states, do they protect sharks too? Do you know?
So I know some. I think I know Hawaii does a lot of protection too, as far as I know.
Oh, yeah, Hawaii's crazy.
Yeah.
People getting eaten by tiger sharks over there lately.
Yeah. Well, you got so. Another way to look at it, most of like the reoccurring theme here is perception, right? We have more people than ever, and we have more people than ever in the water. You know, like this stuff's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But like again, it's perception. Like we don't care how many people died today in car accidents,
right?
You know, somebody gets ripped apart by a shark. We want to go kill sharks.
A huge part of it.
You know, but I mean, like that perception of like we want to get vengeance. You know, where it's just like, there's no vengeance against cars. Like,
right.
You know, there's no vengeance against kids drowning in their own bathtub at home.
Right.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
We want to get these things because they're predatory animals, and we're like, we can go kill them. You know, we can get them back. And it's like, do you think they understand that? They don't know.
Right.
That's the vengeance thing is one that like really catches me up a lot too. I get so mad. Like, well, they kill one of ours, we're going to go kill 10 of theirs. And I'm like,
right.
Do you think they tell their friends? Do you think that, oh, better not mess with them? They killed. No, they're just buddies just dying. They don't know why.
Right.
You know, they don't make that connection. You know?
I think the orcas do make the connection.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
That's a different story. Do you think they tell their friends? Do you think that, oh, better not mess with them? They killed. No, they're just buddies just dying. They don't know why.
Right.
You know, they don't make that connection. You know?
I think the orcas do make the connection.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
That's a different story. That's a super intelligent animal.
Yes.
Dude. Yeah.
Yes. And the orcas and the dolphin. I know Forrest was telling the story about how those orcas were ramming that boat.
Yeah. That's some cool.
Out in the middle of the Atlantic.
Cool. I think it's cool.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And I was watching a video on Instagram the other day too, where this lady was swimming. I think it was somewhere off the coast of California. And there was like this mother orca and its two calves just like following it around following this lady around as she was swimming, just like swimming all around her, like putting their nose up to her feet and like not hurting her at all. And she just kept swimming with these orcas surrounding her, and this drone was filming the whole thing.
So what I love about that is like, okay, I'm obviously an environmentalist. You know, I love animals. But like, there's like, it's like everything. There's a spectrum, and there's definitely the spectrum of like full on crazy person.
Yeah.
Like, and so like the crazy person sees that video and they're like, it's so beautiful. Look at them. And I'm watching that like, oh my God, they're trying to see if she's food.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've swam with orcas, and like you look at them. They
Wild
look at
ones?
Yeah. I did in Norway. And
holy shit.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, that thing is so smart. Like the only reason they're not eating people is because they don't want to yet.
Right.
Okay. Like they don't want to mess. You don't want to. Like I literally said when I went there, I was like, I'm gonna go before something bad happens, and then you can't go anymore. Like that's the way I kind of looked at it, because I was like, we need to be a lot smarter about how we interact with like giant, predatory, super intelligent animals that like thankfully don't see us as prey, you know? And like right now they don't. Let's not give them a reason to. There's too many stupid people doing things that like, you know, like pushing the limit with that kind of animal. And you're like, it takes one person to do something really, really dumb. And then that orca's like, that was really easy. And it tasted really good.
What made you want to go to Norway to swim with orcas?
I mean, it's just an incredible animal. Yeah, I mean, I just like, I mean, a lot of, so like different facets of why I do what I do kind of thing. You know, obviously, education, conservation. I want to tell that thing's story. You know, I want to use like my social media platform to bring more awareness to that animal. But then there's the other side of it's just me and my heart, my soul. I'm like, I want to be around these animals that just give me this sense of awe and like just the raw power they have. And it's just incredible, you know? So like, deep down, I do it for me. I do it because I love it, you know? But then also I'm obviously going to try to use that for education, conservation, and whatnot too.
So how did that go? Like, what did you guys do? Did you guys have to go hunt them down, find where they were, and then just find them and jump in front of them, or what?
I wish mine was a better story. It was a mess. We actually got like really bad weather. We got snowed in. And
oh God,
yeah, it was
that cold.
It was horrific. Yeah. And so like we got snowed in almost the whole time. You know, I paid out of pocket all the way over there, flying over there, renting the boat, the whole night. And like I did it on my own, you know, like I've got to do a lot of cool stuff because I get funded by, you know, different TV shows and networks. So I get to do a lot of cool stuff for free. I did this one out of pocket, and we just got screwed on the weather. So like literally it was like the last possible day, and the captain's like, well guys, snow hasn't stopped. It's too bad. We can't go. And I'm like, I paid a lot of money. Like I had to like kind of get in the guy's face and like, we're going. Like, and I run tourist operations too. And like, I could tell like he just didn't want to go. It sucked. I was like, I could tell this is doable. Yeah. Like I wouldn't do something that's not safe. You know, like I wouldn't push somebody to go if it's not safe. But I could also tell this guy like, he just didn't want to deal with it. Right. It wasn't unsafe. It was uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm like, no, bro, we're going. And we go out there and like, we saw this big male orca going by, and I just dipped right off the back of the boat. And like I got in with him, man, and I got to see him. It was super cool.
Oh, this is the video I was telling you about.
Very casual.
Look at this shit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really close to the beach too. Look, you can see the whitewash right there where the waves are crashing. This is what? Oh, this is Hawaii. Hawaii is Hawaii.
No, New Zealand.
No, Zealand. Oh,
yeah.
Duh. Can't believe I didn't see that.
So like, when you see that, you know, you're like, oh my God, it's beautiful, and they're curious, they're super intelligent, and thankfully, again, they don't see us as food. But then I would also
that water's like 6 feet deep. That's crazy.
I would be not swimming, splashing. I would not be doing anything that could.
I would be doing a left turn.
So like, I mean, I just think about myself. If I was the person in that situation, I would put my eyes right towards them the whole time, maintain eye contact the entire time, let the animal know I'm acknowledging it. That's a predatory animal. You got to treat it like such, you know? And again, like, we run into this problem all the time, like for me as an animal advocate, where like I have to deal with the crazy people on both sides. People think in extremes. I say this all the time. Everybody thinks in extremes. It's either a bloodthirsty killing machine or it's a tame puppy that won't hurt anyone. It'll never hurt a soul. I'm like, reality's in the middle, man.
Yep.
You know, and I try to tell people that all the time, like treat that thing with respect. Like, again, I wouldn't be splashing. I wouldn't do anything that could possibly be interpreted as prey to that animal in any way whatsoever, you know, and like, but obviously, if it wanted her, it could take her immediately. Yeah. And it's just checking her out. They're super intelligent, but like, yeah, don't be in the camp of either crazy side. Right, you know, try to stick in reality in the middle and be like, no, it's not a killing machine. It's a super intelligent animal. It's checking you out. It's also not a puppy.
Also, I don't know if there's been any cases of orcas attacking humans in history in the wild.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's not.
Can you find that, Steve? See if there's any documented cases of an orca attacking a human. I'd be interested to see that. Obviously, in captivity, it's happened, but that's way different.
But you're giving it a reason.
Exactly.
So same thing here. Like let's say that
imprisoning it.
let's say she's swimming and the baby comes up and the baby's like really curious, and then
Kick the baby in the face. The orca's pissed.
exactly that's where it's going with that.
Wild orcas have rarely attacked humans in the wild. There's only one reliable report of a wild orca seriously injuring a human, which occurred in 1972 when a surfer was bitten by an orca off the coast of California. Despite the intelligence and strength of the orcas, there's no verified cases of wild orcas attacking humans for reasons other than a mistaken identity or curiosity.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's like, I always say, like, I'm way more afraid of bull sharks than I am of great whites. Like, I'd rather be in a pool with a great white than a bull shark. You guys were explaining how alligators and crocodiles don't necessarily, and I might be messing this up, but they don't necessarily come from the same ancestor.
No, they do. They share a common ancestor.
They do share a common ancestor.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So really weird. So really weird is that an alligator crocodile is more closely related to a bird than a lizard. Wrap your head around that for a minute.
What?
Yeah. So because their common ancestor would be archosaurs. So archosaurs diverged into oh my God, I'm going to start butchering names here because it all gets like very hard to pronounce names. Anyways, archosaurs branched off to what we have crocodilians and then archosaurs, yeah, and then dinosaurs. And then, you know, as we know, all dinosaurs went extinct or evolved into birds. And then so later on, what we have are actual like reptiles as we know them come so much later in time. So because they're so much later in time, like the common ancestor of crocodilians and birds is the archosaur. So really they are literally closer to each other than they are to like a lizard. It's really weird stuff. Yeah.
So alligators and crocodiles weren't around when the dinosaurs were around?
No, they were, but they had, so okay, this is going to get way complicated. We need a graph on this.
Okay. Steve, you might be able to find something.
Yeah, no, you definitely could. So you would have like let's say there's archosaurs are down here and then it like splits off, and then we have the crocodilians as we're going through time, and then dinosaurs as we know them evolve up here. And so they're taking place in the same time space.
Okay.
But they have the common ancestor down here. You know, and then as we keep on going, the crocodilians keep on going to present day. Dinosaurs, asteroid hits, they either go extinct or evolve into birds as we have them today.
Right. Oh, that's a good graph.
There you go.
Telecrater, birdline, archosaurs. Okay, so the bottom of it is the archosaur ruling reptiles. Then you have on the right hand side of it is the bird line of them, which then goes to dinosomorphs, then dinosaurs, then birds, and on the left side we have crocodilians.
Yeah, really cool, weird stuff.
God, dude, evolution is so bananas.
Okay, here's what's bananas. You know, crocodilians, like what you would call a crocodile, has evolved independently multiple times. Like, look up a phytosaur, Phytosaurus. That's not a crocodile. That evolved independently of the crocodilian line.
Whoa.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, how does something like that...
the nostrils are up there by the eyes instead of at the end of the snout.
What?
Yeah. All right, now you really want to... So this is cool because this is what we're talking about crocodilian-wise, but if you really want to throw your brain for a loop, look up how many times crabs have evolved. This is going to really mess you up.
How many times crabs have evolved?
So like all those things...
Crab-like creatures have evolved... Crab-like creatures have evolved at least 5 times according to Scientific American. The process is called carcinization.
Yeah. So all roads lead to crab.
Oh, yeah, the body...
Yeah.
Right,
so,
the body of a crab has evolved independently.
Yeah, independently. So those things are not related to each other, even though they like all look the same.
Really?
Yeah. So like, that's why they say peak evolution on Earth is crab. All roads lead to crab.
So eventually we're going to look like crabs.
Dude, it's so weird. Yeah, so you have these cases of convergent evolution. Like we know they're not related and they end up going to the same body type. It's so weird.
That is really crazy. But how the hell would we end up looking like crabs?
Well, I don't think we will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's environmental pressures, and we have been able to supersede our environmental pressures with technology. So,
Right.
you know, we are likely not going to. But you never know, man.
Yeah, you never know.
Isn't that so weird, though?
That is super strange. You know, there are like so many there's so many different types of crabs. That's interesting. And crabs can they also can regenerate their claws, which is crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is bizarre.
Yeah. There's some weird stuff, man.
Yeah, and another interesting thing about the crocodiles and the alligators that you guys were explaining on the name of that podcast was Juggernaut, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So, the girl was explaining how, or maybe it was you, that the alligators only have these specific scales on their heads that can sense movement and pressure and all kinds of things, and that the crocodiles have them all over their body.
That's right. So it's called an integumentary sensory organ. So it's a little tiny dome pressure sensor. And so gators will have them just along the face and the jawline. And so they can detect movement in the water, you know, much like a lateral line in a fish. So in really murky water, they feel that movement. They know where to snap. Meanwhile, crocodiles will have them across the entirety of the body. And then like so you can see the little black dots. Hey, that's my video, bottom right.
Oh, yeah.
Who stole that?
TikTok.
So blurry. What?
Go to that.
Yeah, because they stole it.
Go to that photo.
Dude, my stuff gets stolen constantly.
Go to find a close up of the skin, Steve. It was like above there. There you go. No. Yeah, on the left, bottom left. So like that. Can you see him there?
Yeah, hold on. There we go.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, so the little black dots.
So gator or crocs have those all over their skin, and those are
Yes.
like super sensors.
Yep. So they have been shown to be 10 times as sensitive as a human fingertip.
That's crazy, dude.
Isn't that nuts? So like really, really, really cool.
And what is the lifespan of a crocodile?
That's a good question. So you really want to...
Do we know?
That's a good question. So generally speaking, you would normally say, oh yeah, they can get up to 80 years or 100 years or something like that. But in order to know how old something is, you either need a diagnostic on the animal to be able to tell the age, which they don't have. They continue to grow. And so like you can't check their teeth. They shed their teeth and replace them throughout their life. So a lot of animals, you check their teeth, right? You can't do that with them.
Right.
You can't check their bones. That doesn't work either. You can do that with some things. So we don't have a way to tell how old an alligator is just by looking at it or even by cutting it open, dissecting. So there's no way to know. So the only way you would know how old it is, you would have to have a record of when it hatched out of the egg. And then you would have to have that record keeping methodology going for longer than their lifespan is. And we know they can get over 100 years, and we don't have any record taking methodologies that have been going on for over 100 years.
Oh shit, really?
So isn't that wild?
That is crazy.
So like the oldest supposed one is this big crocodile named Henry, who's supposedly like 120 years old.
And they tracked his hatch.
Yeah. So he's supposedly 120, but that also, like when you look at it, you can look him up. If you look him up, you couldn't tell me that croc's not 50. You couldn't tell me that croc's not 200.
Right, you can't
tell. You can't tell. That's what I'm saying. So it's just wild.
Henry is a Nile crocodile who's believed to be the oldest living crocodile in captivity. Born in 1900 in Botswana.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
So then you have records.
Dude, those Nile crocs are so crazy looking.
Yeah. So then you have like indigenous people who have records of animals that are supposedly, you know, like over 200 years old. And people just write it off because it's like, oh, what do you know? You can't even read. You know, it's like, yeah, but those people have a generational knowledge you don't know about.
Right.
And when you're dealing with an animal that lives beyond what a human's lifespan is, you have to have that knowledge of multiple generations, you know?
Yeah.
So there are claims. Oh, that's Dingo right there, that guy. That's Dingo Nickelman. He just passed away very sadly.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he's a really awesome reptile guy. Obviously works with crocs. He was really famous for working with snakes. And yeah, he got bit and sadly passed away.
Bit by a crocodile?
No, by a mamba.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he's actually allergic to the the
venom?
I think that he was allergic to the anti-venom, I think.
Oh, the anti-venom.
Or maybe even the venom too. I'm messing it up, man. 'Cause I honestly, like, I know him personally or knew him. And so like when he passed, like I kind of purposefully didn't read into it that much because it made me really sad.
Right.
So I don't want to like misquote it, but I'm also like, it just really upset me, obviously. So like I know he was allergic and I didn't really look it up a lot because it just makes you upset,
God, that sucks.
But he was an awesome dude. Super, super, super nice. We see like it a lot in the animal world of like animal people. Like everybody's kind of a jerk. Like there's so many egos, like most people like, because they're like, yeah, man, I'm the crocodile hunter. Like so many of these guys have like such an ego, and like he had no ego, man. He was so kind. He was so nice. Like he'd just meet people like, I'm not going to name names and throw some shade, but like a lot of these guys won't even give you the time of day. Like they think they are like, crocodile Jesus. They're just like, they won't even talk to people. They think they're so cool. Dingo would talk to everybody. He was like so enthusiastic, so excited. He was such a cool guy, man.
Yeah.
He was really, really cool, dude.
That's amazing.
Here's a really weird, cool topic. So like, you like UFOs, right? So all the UFOs. I love UFOs. Okay. So Convergent evolution. We have multiple cases of unrelated animals finding the same body type repeatedly throughout history. They have no relation to each other really, and like reptile dolphins, mammalian dolphins, crocodiles, phytosaurs, all this kind of stuff. Have you heard that like there is a body type plan in our DNA that makes us go towards an end goal of like an alien life form?
A body type plan in our DNA.
Yeah, so like
that makes us go towards an alien life form.
Like, well, what we would consider to be an alien life form. But like, so the idea is like in your DNA, in your genetics, there is like this plan that given enough time, all roads lead to crab, like that kind of idea. So like we will eventually become, no matter what, you're going to become like a gray,
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah. Yeah, there's this
well, that's what gives it credence. Because we have multiple examples of this, like all roads lead to crab, all roads lead to being a gray alien, It's just a fun thought.
Yeah, no, we had Mike Masters on here, who is an anthropologist, and he was explaining that he did this study on chimps and how there's this phenomenon called pedomorphism, where basically adolescent chimps look more like humans. Right, so like the babies of hominids look more and more like fully adult hominids extrapolated into the future. So like, a baby chimp. If you look at a baby chimp, it looks more like we do, right? It sits straight. It's got a perfectly round head. It doesn't have this huge protruding jaw and this slanted forehead. Yeah, right there.
Yep.
So a baby chimp looks more like human beings, which are way more evolved than when they are. And when they get to adolescence, look how their jaw protrudes, their head slants back, their neck kind of goes forward. So like the idea is if you take that and extrapolate, take us, right? With that model, our fully grown adults are going to look like the toddlers of today. And that's how people explain gray aliens looking like kids, like short little toddler looking things.
All right, so here's where we're going to blow your mind, okay? So I've thought about this too. And so this comes to domestication associated with neoteny. So neoteny is the retention of juvenile traits as an adult. And so that's just like this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that is heavily associated with domestication. So when we domesticate an animal, they become cuter. So like, yeah. And so like the domesticated version of an animal is always cuter, even if we're not selecting for cuteness. So like if you select for docility, like this fox experiment in Russia, they were trying to see how fast you can domesticate foxes purposefully. So like domestication, just to give like, so people understand, domestication is a process whereby you selectively breed an animal for traits that you want across many generations. So that's why an alligator I have that was caught out of the wild will never be domesticated, because domestication is literally genetic engineering through selective breeding. Right. Okay, so like one animal cannot become domesticated in its lifetime. That's not proper use of that term. So, could we domesticate alligators? Yes, we could if we did it, many generations. Anyways, so we see through domestication, a lot of these traits come out of being like cute, fluffy, bigger eyes, neoteny. You know, so those are juvenile characteristics, even if we're only selecting for docility. So therefore, does that mean we have been selected for docility? Why do we have neoteny as adult humans compared to our hominid brothers?
Yeah, but compared to like, do we have that? Like, how do we know we have that?
Because you look like a baby chimp. Baby chimp doesn't look like you, bro. You look like a baby chimp. You're looking at the equation backwards.
But isn't that just a part of the evolutionary process though? Like
that's domestication. See, if you were to domesticate chimps, they would look more like their babies.
So
See what I'm saying?
you're saying that we could be by some sort of force that's outside of us being selectively bred to be more domesticated or docile?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's some weird stuff. I'm not saying that's a fact, but that's some weird stuff I think about because, so look up if you bring up the domestication experiment of foxes in Russia. I think they were just selecting for docility, make them chill, so they want them nice and
Foxes
friendly.
are just super cute no matter what.
No, but they start tail wagging.
Really?
Yeah. So tail wagging is not normal. So like silver foxes for tameness. So they're only going for tameness, but they exhibit behaviors similar to dogs. So ears going down, flopping down, bigger eyes, tail wagging. These are all like cute things, So like, that's why I would argue that we are the cute version of like chimps. We are much more like a baby chimp than an adult. And so that's that Neoteny thing, which is associated with domestication.
Right. Yeah, that is wild.
Isn't this weird?
I think but what if we could be doing it to ourselves though?
I think we are, or something.
Because think about how we are so far away from our ancestors that needed to just survive, just to get through the day. We don't need to hunt, and we don't need to kill other animals to eat and survive anymore. We're living in a world of such luxury and high technology that people are just. The vast majority of people are just worried about how they look on Instagram. Chicks worried about how hot they look and editing their fucking eyes on Instagram. And I wonder how that is going to, when you extrapolate that into the future, what we're going to look like in 500,000 years. Are we going to optimize for that?
Well, here's the problem is we're optimizing artificially. So you are selecting your partner on physical characteristics that are not part of their genome. They are plastic surgery characteristics.
Yeah.
So we're screwing our genetics on that.
Yeah.
So we're no longer picking someone because you're attractive because you have these attributes that are phenotypically expressed based on your genetics. We're doing it because you look like this because you had a lot of money and got to fix everything that was wrong with you.
Yeah.
Perceptive wise.
Yeah. And a big problem is these designer babies people are trying to have.
That's some weird stuff.
With the CRISPR stuff.
Yeah.
And even which this anthropologist was explaining to me, it's a very kind of sensitive taboo topic, but in vitro fertilization, people who can't have babies,
you get to pick.
They can figure out a way to take your eggs out and take somebody's sperm and make it in a test tube and then put it back in you.
Dude,
he was saying that's going against nature, and that could lead to some scary shit.
Okay. You know Andrew Schulz?
The comedian?
Yeah. Okay. So on my drive here, I listened to his new special on Netflix.
Oh, really?
And it's all about him trying to conceive with his wife.
Yes.
And he literally talks about, you get to pick. He's
right.
We did in vitro.
Right.
And he literally said it. He's we have 9 embryos. Do you want a boy? Do you want a girl?
That's so crazy, dude.
And then he picked the one, and then they're you have 5 more left. He's I thought you said it was 9. He's oh, it's 5. He's well, why is it not 9? He's oh, we're not really comfortable with the other ones. And he kept on saying and beating her, and he made a lot of really funny jokes about it. You should watch the special.
Right. I actually saw him. He came here a year ago, went to his show. He was I think when he was still working that special out.
He did my Gator tour.
Did he really?
Yeah. He was super funny, man.
Funny.
It was before he was big,
Oh, really?
And I didn't even know who he was at the time. And he came and did the tour, and we had a really good time. And then he just blew up. Yeah. And I'm I knew him.
That's crazy.
It was right before he blew up.
Really?
I remember him sending a photo. He took a selfie of me and him in the Alligator and texted it to Joe Rogan. And I was what? You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was cool. But being able to do that, being able to pick.
Yeah.
We're already altering all that stuff,
Yeah, man.